Hey, welcome to Backyard Bows. I'm Brandon, and today we are going to talk about a really new cool product from Aim for a Pass-Through. This is a Mule Stabilizer. This one right here is the Mach 6, which is the 6th generation of something that Danny out of Texas has been developing and kind of adding to, really trying to fine-tune this thing. You can tell he has spent a ton of time in the field just in the function. I mean, this thing has 24 different functions. It is incredible. He has thought of everything. He also has not cut any corners. So everything we talk about today, all the components of the stabilizer from top to bottom, all made in-house here in America. Really cool. Even when he was told you can't do it, he stuck to what he believes in. And man, he is making some really cool product here at what I think, when you factor everything in and the quality, for a good price, okay? So when you first look at it, it's gonna catch your eye, okay? And then you start hearing about what it does. You're really not gonna fall in love with this thing until you throw it on your bow and you start shooting and messing around with it. Then, man, over the past week that I've had this, I have loved this thing every single time I have picked up this X-Like 31. So the first thing that catches your eye, they're gonna call the saddle. So the saddle is this rubber V-shaped kind of front to this stabilizer. It's made out of a PVC plastisol, which is kind of what they use on maybe the gripper of a medical tool. Really solid, really nice quality. It also is gonna grip anything when it's wet. So as you just saw there, it acts as a bow stand, which I don't even think was a function that he originally came up with. I think it's something that was developed later and he realized just how important that was. So what you're seeing from other companies is something that either clips onto the limb or you got the sticks out front, but then again, your cam's still touching the ground. Hoyt just put the knob on it, but then again, it's not as protecting everything as you're wanting it to. With the way this is set up right here, you're protecting your cams, your sight, your strings, cables, everything. It's up off of the ground. A point that he made that I just loved, okay, and this stuck with me from our phone conversation, was that your bow is gonna be either resting or in your hand 98% of the time. You're only gonna be shooting your bow 1 to 2% of its entire life, okay? Think about that. So you want it to have either a really solid stand, or you want it to have something that's gonna have you help you carry it in a way that protects the bow and that's less stressful on you, which is exactly what this does. So that's the first function that we'll talk about, is this is going to act as kind of a support system for you helping carry your bow when you're hiking in and out. You can either hold it upside down, it rests on the top of your forearm. You can grip it, rest it on the back of your forearm. You really don't understand how comfortable and how much stress this takes off of you, your shoulder, and your arm until you have it in your hand. Then you're like, wow, that is actually really nice, especially if you're hiking really long distances, hiking across a 3D tack course, whatever it may be. That thing plays a super cool effect in that. So that fin is also gonna act as like kind of a tripod stand. And then you can also take it and just hang it on a limb of a tree, whatever you want. This rubber is gonna grip whatever it grows. It makes the bow balance out really nicely. I love that too. So it's a super simple connect. You're gonna put your mounting kit onto the bow, you're gonna slide it in, you're gonna have your pin on the side. Once you tighten it down really good, one thing that you can do is that you can pop it out and you can adjust it. So what I've done is I've faced it straight down. Okay, this is something else that's really cool. That pin can act, let's say you're wanting to glass, just have your hands free for a moment, just take a break, whatever it may be, you can hook that right onto your belt. It actually slips right into your pocket and then you can do whatever you're needing to do. Love that, okay? Once you get it super tightened down, this thing is not going anywhere. The actual hole on the other side, you can put a GoPro mounting kit, something in there so it has a bored out hole on either side. Working down the actual stabilizer itself, okay? So it's gonna have a lot of different holes all through the stabilizer. Now those are gonna help with harmonics, dampening properties, whatever it may be. As that vibration reaches the stabilizer, it's gonna come right back if it doesn't have somewhere to release. So all of those are gonna act in helping get some of that vibration and everything out of your hand. I'm telling you, when you shoot this, it's one of the best feeling stabilizers on the front of the bow. It has some incredible dampening properties. So in between the bigger holes, you have a rubber ring that's made of a neoprene rubber, which is, you know, it's gonna separate itself from other rubbers that you find on dampeners and stabilizers, where it's not going to shrink in size. It's not gonna start deteriorating. It's gonna last for a lifetime. And you have one in between each one of those holes. And then you have all of these other small holes throughout the stabilizer to kind of help releasing some of that sound and vibration like we just talked about. Towards the front of it, you actually have 2 more bored out holes on either side of that front ring. Now you can put a Picatinny rail on the front of there. You can mount a flashlight for pig hunting, whatever you want to do, maybe a Tacticam, but that's really cool too. You can mount that right on top. And this thing is awesome. Another thing that I liked was that most stabilizers, you have a very little weight towards the bow, and then you kind of load up towards the end. This thing has a very light weight displacement all the way throughout the bow. Okay, so it's a really nice solid piece of metal, but what I love about that is it really does, I mean, especially on this X-Lite 31. Now I mixed it up and I put it on a couple different bows. This is the one it felt the best on, but man, this right here, it feels so good. And I love the 10-inch. The 10-inch seems to be the most popular. That's gonna give you some nice clearance if you have a longer sight for the stand purposes. Something else also on the front of the saddle, you have 2 more board holes if you want to add an additional stabilizer, add a GoPro or something underneath the bottom or additional weight. You can kind of add and kind of tool around with or tinker around with it as much as you want. I've seen guys run extra stabilizers out, more weights underneath or dampening properties underneath. So these things will come in black, green, tan, a couple different camo options. They have that true timber, they have the origin camo. But what I want to do, which I've actually done, you know, off camera a little bit this entire week, was I really want to get this thing outside and shoot with it. It's one of the best stabilizers. So forget all the functions. Okay, let's go back to the original function of what this is. It's a stabilizer. Okay, it's one of the best stabilizers on the market. One of the best quality, one of the best feeling, and honestly, for those original purposes of a stabilizer, dampening, a little bit of sound suppression, and then the balancing of a bow, this thing is beautiful all around. Really, really cool. I actually love this thing more and more. The look of it has grown on me since the first time I had it in my hand. Immediately, to me, it was a lot, but now I'm absolutely in love with it. Okay, so the more I mess around with it and the more you realize what everything on it is and how it all has a function and it's not just shaped the way it is, then you kind of really can love the look of it as well. Let's get outside, let's shoot this thing a bunch. All right, so we'll do a little freestyle shoot here. Actually, we'll just fling a couple at that new bighorn target I have up there. We'll just start dropping bombs right off the bat. 2 other things that you can buy on the website that are in the accessory file is one, it's called the X saddle, which will go on the bottom here, which will kind of give you an X shape, which is really cool, adding a little bit more dampening and weight towards the end. And then also they have an adapt. So they have just the saddle, which is probably one of my favorite pieces of the stabilizer, which you can mount on any other stabilizer. You can mount it on, if you like to run a long stabilizer, whatever stabilizer you have, it has the ability to mount onto the end of it. So you can add that stand, that dampening mechanism, and that weight all to a different stabilizer. So a couple of the other things, like I mentioned, inside, turned upside down, belt, pocket, whatever you want. Hands-free, glass in, range in, anything like that. That's pretty cool, love that too. And then again, you can hang it up on anything you want to. It grips it really well, again, protecting all the important parts of the bow. And then you can just set it down, you know, if you're walking, get tired, set it down. One of the other things I love about the front is the ability to hang it on like a limb of a tree. So if you're hiking, you get tired, you don't have to put your bow on the ground at all. If it's wet everywhere, muddy, whatever it may be, you can just hang it up on the closest limb, kind of like the fangs on an APA bow. The only other difference is your bow's upside down, so it's not necessarily ready to use. That's probably the only difference that I you know, kind of saw that I really didn't like. I love the fangs because you just kind of pull them right off, you're ready to go. But I love the ability just to be able to hang it anywhere that you want. All right, so let's just fling a couple. We're gonna get up to that new target. Got a bighorn sheep, 50 yards up at the top of the hill there. But here we go. Between the X-Lite, between that magnite material and this dampener on the front of this is so crisp. I think the X-Lite 31 is probably my favorite of the 4, just for my draw length. So I'm gonna redress this one up just like it is. We'll find some arrows, and this will kind of one we'll add to that hunting collection, something you can pick up and just go with. But I'm keeping this on there. I have fallen in love with this thing. Just 1 week. You play with it, you mess around with it, you realize just how cool and neat it really is. And then the performance side is what will seal the deal. It really does all the things you want a stabilizer to do. It is top tier. I haven't shot with this thing in a while too. I think the vibration is what you feel the most, and then the weight distribution. And on this bow especially, But I think it's one of those stabilizers that you could move from, in one-time investment, you can move it from bow to bow to bow. I'm a 10-inch stabilizer, that's my go-to. 10 inches, this is probably one of the best ones I found. And that's coming from somebody who does not, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you the stabilizer is the most important part if you're beginning bow hunting, archery. There's other things that you can invest in. But once you get up there where you want to put together a complete package and really make everything come together, this is a great option. Really clean, really cool. You're done with it. I'm telling you, and also another thing that I love about just the stands that we're seeing on these bows more and more is when you're in the shop working on them. It is so nice. Twisting your deal, whatever it is you're doing, being able to stand a bow up right in front of you on a table, work on it, make your adjustments. Really, really cool. Love it more and more. All right, final thoughts. Again, the more I have this thing, the more I absolutely love it. The price range is gonna range anywhere from anything on their websites, anywhere from $100 to $200. So somewhere in there, you can add additional things. You can buy a different mounting system if you lose it. You can buy the rubber in pieces on the inside. You can buy a different saddle. You can buy the different saddles that go on different stabilizers. You can mix and match. The versatility of weight distribution on this thing is awesome. So he runs himself maybe the 6-inch down below, reversed upside down, the 10-inch above it, with the V facing up. So there's all kinds of different ways. You can just run the same stabilizer facing down, facing up. That's gonna distribute the weight differently for you. So there's multiple different ways that you can customize it to fit the feeling that you like. Just like it is right now, the one thing that I'm super excited about getting in is that Picatinny rail for those hog hunts, putting that flashlight on there, any kind of camera, something like that. I can't wait for that part. But other than that, I love it just how it is. Just one stabilizer, 10-inch, right off the front, facing up. This is how I'm gonna rock it on this X-Lite, and I am gonna put this X-Lite back into the field. I absolutely love this whole setup right here. So if you have not checked them out, check them out. 100% American made. I think one of the best stabilizers on the market. I hate even calling it a stabilizer because it's so much more than that. I love what Danny's doing. I think he's just gonna keep adding, figuring things out. I think we're gonna see a lot more from them, so stay tuned, check out their website. There's a link below in the description. Go purchase something, support them, American made, can't beat it.